Well, it's my privilege to welcome Gareth Higgs to bring us another breakfast bite this morning. Hi, Gareth. How are you?
Hi, Nathan. I'm good, thank you. How you doing?
Excellent. Great. Thank you. And really great to see you and really looking forward to a new breakfast bite. So would you like to dive right into today's breakfast bite?
Sure. So I've been thinking today and in the last couple of days about anger. And I guess this is motivated by a video I watched as I was preparing a couple who are about to get married. And this particular video sort of sets out two styles of anger, and characterizes one as a rhino. You kind of stampede and be head down and express it quite fiercely. And another as a hedgehog. You curl up in a ball and kind of freak out, but you're a bit passive aggressive. You kind of get a bit sarcastic and let your kind of feelings out a bit. And I guess that those are two different ways of handling anger. And often, I guess, sometimes we're tempted to think that anger in itself is a bad thing. I don't think it is, but it's about how it's expressed. Jesus has got something to say about anger, and he talks about referring to one of the Ten Commandments about not murdering, and he talks about using careless language to describe a friend. Don't call them a fool. Don't call them an idiot. He says in Matthew's Gospel. And Jesus himself got angry. Of course, he acted with a way that showed anger. But again, it's about how it is channeled and how it is expressed. What anger then is, I think, is a matter of the heart to begin with, before it becomes a matter of the hands or the voice or anything else. What's inside us, we know, will often flow outside. And so when Jesus is talking about anger, he goes back to the Ten Commandments and he thinks about the one that says, don't murder. And what he's trying to remind us, I think, is that every human being is made in the image of God. So the person that cuts you up in the car this morning, the person that queue jumps, the person that annoys you that you sit next to in the office, the person even in your church maybe that is frustrating. It's important to remember those people are made in the image of God, just as we are. We're created by God, we're loved by God, we're cherished by him, we're made by him, and we carry the divine imprint. We carry the image of God. And so when we cause harm, whether that's physical or maybe verbal, we're actually tearing down, we're demeaning something which God has made. And so we ought to take that seriously. So if that is the case, then how do we helpfully express our anger when we relate to people? Go back to the Ten Commandments, do not murder. Well, few people, some will, as we know, sadly, but few people commit physical murder. But many of us can slip into committing kind of verbal murder. How many times have we spoken words that cause harm? Or demean somebody's reputation, or spread gossip or lies about somebody. How many times have things that we've said, or even just a little glance, without actually saying a word, but we communicate something about somebody quite deliberately, however subtly we might think it happens. And you see, these actions and these words are, as the old illustration goes, like toothpaste. Once they're out there, you cannot get them back. They are a reality. And so we need to think carefully about how we express our anger and our frustration. We need to take time to step back and reflect before we act or speak. We need to perhaps sleep on it before we send an email or a text or a passive-aggressive WhatsApp or Facebook post. We need to try and depersonalize issues and make them about the issue at hand rather than the person that has caused it. We need to examine our hearts and think about whether we're harboring resentment or unforgiveness, whether we're carrying bitterness. And if there's a hardness of heart in there, I think it's important just to consider how we might maybe bring that to God and ask him to soften our heart, change us and transform us. So anger is not a bad thing in itself, but it is important that we express it in an appropriate way. And if we're important that we don't just be careless in the things that we say that demean other people who are made in God's image. The people, even the most irritating people that you'll meet today, dearly loved by God. And if we're carrying around resentment and stuff that has a propensity to cause anger, then actually we need to find a way to deal with that, process that, and work through that. So Jesus says, yeah, I've forgotten the last bit. I don't know what I was going to say then. So we'll just end with process that bit.
Yeah. Great. That was really good. Thank you so much, Gareth. I've got to say, actually, would you like to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Sure. So my name's Gareth. I'm married to Laura, and I'm dad to three children of varying ages. I live in Plymouth, where I'm the superintendent or senior minister of Plymouth Methodist Central Hall. So we are a Bible-believing, charismatic Methodist church with a heart for mission and transformation of our city, right in the very heart of Britain's Ocean City, as Plymouth likes to be known. So we're right in the shopping centre, and a great place to be.
Excellent. Well, yeah, thank you so much for that breakfast bite. It's a really good thought, actually, anger, because we all have to deal with that every single day, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And I think, there's all sorts of circumstances that make us feel frustrated, that make us more irritable or frustrated, stress, tiredness, for
Yeah,
some of us, hormones, all sorts of things. But we are responsible for our actions and how we express some of that frustration.
absolutely. And I like what you say about Jesus, though. When he responded in anger, it was a very, like you say, a very controlled anger. He depersonalized the issue. It wasn't about his feelings. It wasn't about how he was hurt. It was about the wrong thing that was being done in his father's house.
Yeah, you're spot on there. That's yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. That's a really good thing for us to reflect on as you go about our day, being careful how we express our anger and making sure that in the process we're not going to hurt others or offend others unnecessarily, because it's really important that we control our anger, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I think so.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Gareth. I look forward to another breakfast bite next week.
No worries. Take care.
You too.